Piwa, thank you so much. I mean, you are bringing in so many pertinent points just about this election. Yes, the numbers are low, and yes, a lot of people very concerned about the numbers, particularly political parties. And I mean, you know, there are, as you've said, various reasons why we're seeing these low numbers. But I mean, we also know that historically local government elections did draw very low numbers in terms of those coming to the polls versus the numbers of those that have registered. For instance, the IEC did give an update earlier on that around 12 million of the 26.2 million voters actually turned up to vote yesterday. So again, very low numbers, probably one of the lowest, as you've rightfully said. And interesting conversations that we're having with our political analysts here in studio, just talking about what could be the reason behind this low voter turnout and what it means for South Africa from a multi-party perspective, because coalitions, as they are saying, are becoming fast a reality for this country. Of course, we've seen them happen in various municipalities since 2016. So we'll continue having conversations with our political analysts. We'll continue to get those results from our journalists who are on the ground, and they're also at various centers across the country. So those numbers certainly coming in fast and furious, Simpiwe, but thank you so much for this. I'd like now to introduce my guest on the show, Professor Mcebisi Ndletyana. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, plenty to unpack and to speak about. The reason I'm standing next to this board, I'd like us to zone in on the Eastern Cape, particularly the Nelson Mandela Bay. I mean, whilst we know that the Eastern Cape has counted around 87% of those votes, it's quite worrying that we're sitting at 18% for the Nelson Mandela Bay. Now, you've spent some time over the next 5 years just looking at what went wrong in the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. But perhaps before we do that, as we can see now on the board, we're looking at the ANC, the DA and the EFF getting those percentage supports there. ANC enjoying 42.72%. Of course, only 18% of those votes counted. The DA there at 37.89%, and followed by the EFF. If we had to look at those numbers in 2016, we can see that the ANC at the time enjoyed 42.21% of the support. And I'm going to skip to 2000. And those numbers will be 61.18%. Prof, so speak to me about, you know, what we are currently seeing here in this highly contested municipality. What are the likely projections?
Well, it was always going to be a hotly contested race between the DA and the ANC. They were alternating as government leaders in the last 5 years, with the DA being the first coalition. Then the ANC came in, led by Mongabeli Bobane, and the DA came back. And I must say, though, when the DA was in charge, especially in the first stint, they did extremely well. Of course, it was unstable. It was a coalition. They were outstepped. The ANC with Bobane came back. Things didn't go well. There were a lot of disruptions. Meetings did not happen. The ANC did not acquaint themselves well during that period, and the DA came back. So they've each had an opportunity to demonstrate what they can do in the last 5 years. And of course, the reason why the ANC was ousted in 2016 was because of its long track record, a terrible one, before 2016. So they've had a lot to prove. But the stint that they had, during the stint that they had with Bobane, they didn't improve on that bad performance. They continued. So for me, I think, technically speaking, if you are to evaluate them on the basis of their performance in the last 5 years, the DA should have an edge. It's just that with the DA, the national politics of the party, national image of a party that has decided to go right-wing, the departure of a number of black leaders at a national level has tainted the party somewhat. So in black areas, I don't think they will do well. They face a fierce contest in the northern areas where you have colored folks, because there you have quite a multiplicity of parties. You have GOOD, you have Patriotic Alliance, you have the Northern Alliance. All of them are competing for colored votes. And Right there, Unati, is an indication of the surge of colored nationalism. Parties that have emerged, speaking specifically to colored issues, exploiting the fact that they feel excluded, that government has not been doing anything for them. So it will depend on how each of these two parties perform in the northern areas, but they are kind of evenly matched to some degree.
Okay, fantastic.